These are the most terrifying websites in the world. Here's why you should be scared of them. They're called record search sites, and for $5 or $10, literally anybody could go and enter anybody's name and where they live and get an insane amount of overly personal and like scary information on them. Not just your address, but like where you work, where you went to school, how many kids you have, where you like to eat lunch. And sometimes goes as deep as like your credit card information and social security number. Now, you probably think you're safe because you don't submit any of that information online, so they don't have it. While they very likely do, and it's because of something called ID-based data aggregation. Stick with me because it's so important you understand this. So pretty much everybody submits really basic information online, right? You're signing up for something, you enter your name and your email, that's fine. Worst case scenario, you get some spam emails. But here's the thing, whenever you submit information online, there's a whole bunch of unique IDs tied to you, whether it's your device ID or more commonly, your IP address. Now, let's say you go try to log into your bank, say JP Morgan, and you realize your bank is down. So you go to one of those website monitoring tools to see if your bank is down, and it turns out it is. Now, even though you didn't submit any information, this website now knows that your bank is likely JP Morgan because you checked if it was down, and this company now has your IP address and who you likely bank with. Now, right now, these are two totally separate pieces of data, but there's these companies called data brokers who basically buy and sell data at mass, both to end companies like advertisers and other data brokers. And what they'll do is they realize that, hey, this IP address matches up with this personal information record, so I'm going to match this bank. Now it knows that my bank is JP Morgan. And banking is just the start of it. These spreadsheets have thousands of lines of record showing you like where you like to shop, how many children you have, what schools you go to. So despite you not submitting it anywhere, these data broker companies are getting so much information on you. And then they sell it on to so many different places, including these data lookup sites. And then through the data trade, it usually ends up in the hands of bad actors, whether that's for identity theft or just like blatant credit card fraud. Now, there's a sponsor to this video, and they're conveniently one of the only ways that you could prevent against this whole thing happening. Trust me, I use these guys personally. It's incredible. So it's called Deleteme. It's a paid service, and it's crazy simple. Basically, you sign up for it, and they work on your behalf to scrub your information from all of these data brokers. It does one big sweep when you initially sign up, basically requests all your data to be removed from these databases, but crucially, it also removes it on an ongoing basis. It's constantly scanning, and you get like these monthly reports of where it's removed your data. It's incredible. Now, a huge advantage of them sponsoring this video, aside of them just allowing me to educate you guys and not really sell their thing, is they've also given me a 20% off discount code if you want to use Deleteme yourself. So you could use brett.tech for 25% off their services. Highly worth it. You can find a link to them in my bio. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll catch you in the next video.
I am so glad you asked. Today I'm going to teach you about mankind's most important invention, the transistor. So a transistor is a component used in electronic circuits, comes in all different shapes and sizes, but almost always has 3 different wires coming off of it. And literally all this thing is a switch, but it's a switch that a computer can press. So instead of having a physical button, it has this middle wire that acts as a switch. Let's say we have this super simple circuit with a power source and a motor. If we were to put a switch here and press it, it would turn the motor on. If we wanted a computer to take over that job though, we can't just put it in the middle here because the computer uses a really small sensitive signal that will get totally fried if we put it in this loop with this battery. So we instead place the transistor in the circuit, like so. Well, then it will apply a really well-controlled computer signal to this wire, closing and opening the circuit whenever we want. And that's literally it. But how is this the best thing that mankind has ever invented? Well, shortly after we made transistors, we realized we could link them together. So we could use the output of transistors to trigger other transistors. Then we realized, depending on what orientation we apply power to all these different legs, we get different outputs of ons and offs at different points, or zeros and ones. This is a computer. It's literally what's inside every single computer processor. Except instead of these chunky plastic things, they're carved into a material called silicon, and there's literally tens of billions of these transistors inside every processor. Anyway, don't forget to put some respect on the transistor, because without them, we wouldn't have computers, and who would know where the world would be right now without them. Hope you learned something today. Thanks for watching.